Welcome to the show, it's just the facts. Where we break it down, don't hold 'em back. Don't get in your feelings, cause it's only the facts. We got all the tea on them relationships. We gon' break it down and shatter all the myths. Talk about mindset goals, growth, and money tips. We gon' break it down and keep it all legit. Heart, mind, body, soul. Ready, set, let's go. This is just the facts. Welcome to the show, it's just the facts. Where we break it down, don't hold 'em back. Don't get in your feelings, cause it's only the facts. We got all the tea on them relationships. We gon' break it down and shatter all the myths. Talk about mindset goals, growth, and money tips. We gon' break it down and keep it all legit. Heart, mind, body, soul. Ready, set, let's go. This is just the facts. Welcome to the show, it's just the facts. Where we break it down, don't hold 'em back. Don't get in your feelings, cause it's only the facts. We got all the tea on them relationships. We gon' break it down and shatter all the myths. Talk about mindset goals, growth, and money tips. We gon' break it down and keep it all legit. Heart, mind, body, soul. Ready, set, let's go. This is just the facts. Welcome to the show, it's just the facts. Where we break it down, don't hold 'em back. Don't get in your feelings, cause it's only the facts. We got all the tea on them relationships. We gon' break it down and shatter all the myths. Talk about mindset goals, growth, and money tips. We gon' break it down and keep it all legit. Heart, mind, body, soul. Ready, set, let's go. This is just the facts. Welcome to the show, it's just the facts. Where we break it down, don't hold 'em back. Don't get in your feelings, cause it's only the facts. We got all the tea on them relationships. We gon' break it down and shatter all the myths. Talk about mindset goals, growth, and money tips. We gon' break it down and keep it all legit. Heart, mind, body, soul. Ready, set, let's go. This is just the facts. Welcome to the show, it's just the facts. Where we break it down, don't hold 'em back. Don't get in your feelings, cause it's only the facts. We got all the tea on them relationships. We gon' break it down and shatter all the myths. Talk about mindset goals, growth, and money tips. We gon' break it down and keep it all legit. Heart, mind, body, soul. Ready, set, let's go. This is just the facts. Welcome to the show.
Yo. What's up? It's your boy Jay. It's just the facts. It's been a while since I've been on stage with you guys. It's been a while since I've been on live. It's been a while since I shot a little video. But I took some time off to do some thinking, do some searching, researching, looking up some things. Just chilling, taking some time, for self. It's always good to do that from time to time. However, I decided to come back at a certain time for for a good reason. Obviously, we gotta ramp it up now. We done got past the first quarter of the year. My how time flies. and we have gotten into April 1st. Now, some of y'all like to look at it as April Fools, but if you know, you know, I like to look at it as Happy New Year's. Um, that's a conversation for another time. However, that doesn't stop anything. Regular programming, regular schedule, we gonna get to it. So a few things has changed. A few things has come to be in my life, which has caused me to have some schedule changing. Where I used to stream late at night, now I can stream a little bit earlier. With that being said, I came back on April 1st, the new year, April Fool's Day, to go strong. Now, I have a goal in mind, and the goal I'm going to speak out loud because without saying it out loud, there's no manifestation of the goal, right? So I have a goal to gain 1,000 followers, just a simple thousand, couple thousand or 1,000, just 1,000. Currently, I have I think 87, so I need about 913 more, which I think is doable. So for me to do that, I'm going to commit to being on here every day. I'm gonna do me a 30. I'm gonna do me a 30-day hard run at it. I'm trying to get 1,000 in 30 days. Y'all help me get 1,000 in 30 days. I'm gonna have a prize for some anonymous well, not an anonymous because we gonna shout the person out whenever the gift gets received. But there will be a cash prize for me getting my 1,000th subscriber. I will have a cash prize. I'm not gonna disclose it yet because we ain't got no traction into it yet. But there will be some prizes. So help me get to my 1,000, and shit, you never know. I might look out for the people that been here from the beginning first before I even look out for the new folks that come into the picture. But that's not this, and this is not that. We here to talk about is America racist today. But before we get into America is America racist today, I want to get some housework done first. So housekeeping thing number one. Just the Facts, JC Fits. The clothing line will be coming. Will be coming. The website is being in progress. It is being worked on. The items are being built and created as we speak. Um, I've been talking about JC Fits for a while, and the type of person I am, I really like to have things correct when I do it. I don't really like to do things that's not correct because I understand that first impression is your best impression. So I like to make sure that I don't make same mistakes that I used to make in my past where I would just create something and just put it out to the masses. And then by the time you actually get good at what you're trying to do, people already kind of like moved on from you because you done already showed them the BS that they really wasn't fucking with, but because they cool with you, they'll tell you it was cool, but they probably ain't really fucking with it. You know how those people are. Next order of business, JC Fits will be coming soon. The website will be announced soon. I will be giving that link out so people can actually go on there and browse and see what we got. It'll be collaboration. I'm gonna collaborate Just the Facts with JC Fits. Obviously, it is both my brands. It is both my things. So some things that we talk about on Just the Facts, you'll see a T-shirt that might have the slogan slapped on it. You might see a hoodie with the slogan slapped on it. But overall, JC Fits is its own brand. So I will show you some pieces of what JC Fits has to offer. Next order of business is the Just Clip It app. Now, last time I was on here, I spoke about the Just Clip It app, and I told you guys, I had some bug issues going on. I had this going on, and blase skip, blase blay. Well, the app is done, and currently I'm just doing a whole bunch of testing to ensure that there is no glitches. I don't need nobody to get no unlimited locks. I don't need nobody to get unlimitedly charged. So I want to make sure that everything works properly functioning because I am a one-man show over here. I'm doing it all by myself. I'm coding these websites. I'm designing these clothes. I'm coming up with the content for the stream while all at the same time being a regular nigga working a regular 9 to 5. Well, technically I work 7 to 3, but you get what I'm saying. And also, being dad. You gotta be dad. You gotta put your big boy pants on. So juggling a lot of things. that's a lot of reason why I took the step back. But that's not this and this is not that. So let's get into the order of business of what we talking about. Is America racist today? But before I get into that, I got one more order of business I want to get into, and that's just to talk about. You know what? I'm gonna hold that one. I've given a lot right there. I'm gonna hold that one because it's still in the works. We gonna hold that one. We gonna hold that there. Now, um, this is a controversial conversation, right? Because everybody's going to have their own opinion of what they believe to be a fact. Oh yeah, America is racist. Oh yeah, Trump is right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we so in this conversation, what we're not going to do, we're not going to use any emotional ideas. We're not going to go at this with the well, I feel like this, I feel like no, 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 no. We want to go about this as factually as we possibly can. Like we will have a segment that does talk about personal experiences versus what is being pushed out as mainstream media. However, we will make sure that we stay away from being too irate, too emotional about whatever we talk about. With that being said, let's first come to a situation where we can understand what the view of racism is. And obviously, because I'm not debating anybody, and unless somebody pops in the chat and while I'm live and gives me something to go off of, we're basically only going to be going off of my personal opinions and my personal ideas, in which I challenge you, the viewers, if you watch this in live or in playback, to drop a comment, drop some type of indication to let me know, hey, do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you disagree with what I'm saying? Why do you disagree with what I'm saying? And again, I don't want you to come at me as an emotional wreck, because we can't get anywhere that way. We have to only speak the facts. We can only speak the facts, just the facts, nothing but the facts. So help me God. With that being said, we are at the beginning, the first section. We've gotten all of the prerequisites out the way. We've gotten all of the jibber jabber. We reconvened our relationship. We got back in touch with each other. I called you, you pick up the phone, and now we talking. We talking. We back at it. All right. So with that being said, we need to define what is racism. Now, if we go off the dictionary definition, let me pull that up real quick, real quick. According to excuse me, don't stop the track. That's the good quote. That's the good dope. You feel me? Racism is defined as a system of advantage and oppression based on race, where a dominant racial group uses its power to discriminate against and marginalize others. This is the AI definition. My dog LBC like to get on me about my definitions and where I'm getting them from. So with that being said, I just happen to look down a little bit pre-reading before I actually read. And I seen Merriam-Webster. So we're gonna go to the Merriam-Webster definition. And I will actually share what I'm looking at. So it says here that racism is a belief that race is a fundamental determinant. A belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Second definition is a behavior or attitudes that reflect and foster this belief. Discrimination, prejudice, or violence against people because of their race. Now we have another definition that is the systemic oppression of racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another, specifically white supremacy. So we have a few definitions to go off of, and a political or social system founded on racism and designed to execute its principles. So we have a few definitions to go off of. Now, I think that before we actually get into the conversation, I think we have to first agree or disagree to whether any of these apply to the conversation that we're having today. I mean, obviously, because the overall theme is, does racism exist? We need to narrow it down to which definition do we want to use for our argument in this case. So a belief that a race is fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of particular race. I think that's in a general sense, and I think that we can say that that exists, and I believe that that exists in all races. So racism would only be exhibited by the mass group, or the more populated group, which would then be able to actually show the racism onto the lesser populated group. Um, I guess we can say that without a doubt is a truth. Behavior or attitudes that reflect and foster this belief, discrimination, prejudice, or violence against people because of their race. So in this case, I think people can always use the example of a police shooting, which I want to not use those examples because we only see a percentage of those examples that happen and play out, and it's only pushed in a certain narrative and push in a certain light. So we're not going to use police examples. We're going to use something more like regular everyday situations where I don't think in 2026 we will see somebody just go a group of white people or even a group of black people just go to an individual white person or whatever color they are and just beat their ass because they're that color and they don't like that color. I don't think that that is something that's happening in 2026. I don't think that's something that happened in the 2000s realistically. I mean, I maybe in your personal situations you might have witnessed something like that, but in my personal experiences I've never seen it. I've never really I can't even say that I've ever heard of it outside of the Dylan Roof situation, in which that was, I believe that kind of was something that was, we can go into conspiracy land with that. So the overall theme would be 100% of the time, is that 100% of the way true? No, I can't say that because obviously there are always going to be those outliers. But can I say that without thinking about outliers, just the overall picture, is that a thing? Nah, I don't think that that's a thing. And I think that if it is being portrayed that way, it's probably for fucking show. I don't think that's really going on. The systemic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. Now, this is an interesting conversation to have because when you think about the systemic oppression of a racial group, I would say that there's clearly some systemic division going on. Is it geared to race, or is it or is it geared to a particular group or set of people? And by set of people, it's not a particular race. Maybe it's more so a social class. Now, this is where I have the argument at, because me personally, I believe that the systemic oppression is more of those of a certain social class. So if you got money, you good. You can get away with whatever the fuck you want to do. You literally can damn near do whatever you want to do until you don't got the money, or until you step on the wrong feet or toes or fuck over the wrong person. I think we've seen that time and time again. I think we've seen that so many times that you have to acknowledge that that has some truth to it. That as long as you have money, you're able to do those things. Now, if you want to start the argument of can you get the money, or why you don't have the money, that's a complete separate argument of from the fact that if you have the money, you can dodge a lot of trouble. You can dodge a lot of shit, period, in general. So, racism to a race, I would say no. To a social group, I would say most definitely. I think social classes do play a major role in where you can be, where you are, and how you get to where you're going, for sure. And the political or social system founded on racism and designed to execute its principles. A political or social system founded on racism and designed to execute its principles. I think we can all agree. I do not believe that in 2026 there is not a fucking thing that I can ever picture, name, or ideology. I can't think of anything. I can't fathom it, bro. What can be made in 2026 to be like, yeah, whites only? There's some whites only. There's some white only cookies right here. We don't like black folks eating these cookies, or we don't want Mexican people eating these, or we don't want Asian people eating these. Like, yeah, that shit. I don't think. Ah, yeah, again, like I say, bro, if somebody got something that they can think, like maybe in Mississippi that shit was going on back in like maybe in 2005 or some shit, like maybe, because I do know that in, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know that in like 2014 or something like that, they lifted the last slavery law in Mississippi. So I know that that's one of the last states that that had slavery. I do know that in the southern states like that, there there is some muddy waters that you can cross over into that be like, okay, is that racist? But then again, it's kind of like in the South, it's almost a way of life, in a way of being, to act or react to certain things a certain way. Like I was born up north, but I was raised down south, so I was able to get both sides of it and understand why people up north would feel the way that they feel about how people down south act or walk around or treat situations. And being down south, I can understand how, like, realistically, it's not no offense. Like, you kind of grow up and understand it's not offensive for certain things that, like, I can't say that if a white man came up to me and say, "Hey, boy, yeah, okay, now we talking. That's a little, yeah, you a little, you know what I'm saying? You doing too much." Or, "Hey, son, all right," but in the sense of like, okay, I can't even think of an example, to be honest with you. I can't think of an example. I can't think of an example because I'm so far removed from even really thinking about how. I haven't been to South Carolina in so long. I can't even really recollect how these fucking people talk down there. But I think a lot of it is like, it just is like, it's like, man, whatever, bro. You didn't really say nothing that's offensive, or you didn't do anything that, you don't strike me as that type of person. You're not you're not posing me any threat, any harm. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It's weird. It's weird for sure when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. But either way it goes, as far as the political social system being founded on racism, I don't. I can't see. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't. I think that's false. So we have without any. That's not going to go by too well. Behaviors or attitudes that reflect everyone has those, and a belief that a race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. I think this is the only one that we can really go off of that can say that can stand on a lot of different arguments where you can say, okay, I can see how you see that. I can see how that can be. If you think of anything else, like I said, drop the comment, let me know, and I'll drop another video talking about it for sure. So, what is racism? Is it an individual prejudice based on race, or is it a systematic power and discrimination, or is it both? So, is it individual prejudice based on race, systemic power and discrimination? I would say that we're as a country so divided on what racism actually is. Like if you can ask a multiple different people what they believe racism is, and granted, you can all like we can all kind of agree on certain things, but I believe that a lot of people have different looks on it. I'm gonna go with individual prejudice based on race. I can't say that discrimination is the thing, but I can't go with systemic power. So I won't agree with systemic power being a form of racism in 2026. Maybe back then it was, but 2026 it was never. It's never that. Now the next question that we have, because I'm getting these questions from ChatGPT until y'all hit me up with the chats, and I got that to go off of. I don't even got to talk to chat no more about this. But does intent matter, or is it just the outcome? And that's a pretty good question when you ask, does intent matter on what's being done? Like, um, I use that example. If you down south and you talking to a white guy and he's like, it's a let's say it's a much older white guy, and he's like, hey son, can you help me with the uh, uh can you help me grab this drink off the top rack, you in Walmart? Are you offended by that? Is the intent, is that intent offend you? Is that racism? Or is that just, maybe that's just the way he talked? That's just, what I'm saying, he might call a white guy son, hey son, can you reach and grab that off the top shelf for me? Or if you get pulled over by a cop that caught you speeding, and he was like, hey son, do you have your license and registrations on you? He's a white cop. Do you automatically think that that white cop is racist? Now, see, that's a major thing that we think we got to pay attention to when we had this conversation, because this is all important things, right? You can say that, okay, yeah, this person said son, but do you know if he say son to the white guy he pulled over, hey son, give me your license and registration. You know why I pulled you over today? Do we know that? Or are we just going off the fact that, hey, he called him son? See, and that's where, okay, now let's say intent matters, or let's say just the outcome. Let's say he had no ill will with that, right? So that's cool. You give him the pass on that. But what if, even though he was being nice to you, he said, hey, look, I'm gonna have to get you to step up out this car. I'm gonna have to read you your rights. You're going to jail today. You're going 30 miles over the speed limit, and it smells like alcohol in your breath, right? So Now is he racist because you was a black person and you got locked up, even though you showed him your license and registration and your insurance and you was polite and he was polite? Or even, okay, even what if he rude? What if he rude? Is if he's nice and you say, nah, he wasn't. He just an older. He an older cop. You gave him the pass on that. But if he was rude, now is he a racist? These are the things that we got to think about before we say somebody is fucking racist. Because I hear people say somebody's racist all the time, but is unequal outcome always proof of racism? That's another thing we have to have a conversation about. Is unequal outcome. So I got a homeboy, he from the hood, he black. It's his first time getting locked, getting caught. He had let's say he got 1.5 grams of crack on him. Obviously we know he trying to go sell it, he trying to go off it, but that's besides the point. He gonna get busted for possession with intent. A white guy, it's his second time getting caught. He got 8 grams of crack. The black guy, he gets 10 years straight. The white guy, he gets 8 years, 2 years on probation. Is that a racist outcome? I think that is a very interesting thing because we see that all the time, and we actually do see that in real time. Like that really happens where somebody ends up getting like I witnessed it myself. I can say that I do believe that is discrimination. I can't necessarily say that it's racism. The reason why I can't say that it's racism is because I believe that in order, so let's say the roles were reversed. Let's say that you're that person, you're that judge, you're the black judge, and you have the same scenario. Well, do you do the same thing? Do you still give that guy the 10, or do you give him 5 years? Or do you give him just straight up probation and give him a lenient sentence while you go get that man the book? Because now then, are you being racist? Because if you're not being racist, then they can't be being racist either, right? Like that would logically make sense. Now, if you admittedly know that you're being racist, then I think you need to have a conversation with yourself with who's actually the racist here. Is it them or is it you? Because two things can be true at the same time, but I don't think that this case would make that two things being true. I think it's more so that if you were the racist, then your outlook on everything around you would also then be racist because you're driven on racist thoughts, which is something deep to conversate about. If you, you know what I'm saying, if you want to talk about it, let me know, because that's real. But then it says if people don't agree here, everything becomes an emotional instead of a logical conversation, which is what I said. We can't have an illogical conversation. We have to have a logical conversation. We can't be talking about, well, I feel like these people did me dirty because I did this, that, and the third. Well, the facts is, my boy, you probably got 3 felonies already, my boy, so you probably already done struck out, and they was giving you break after break after break, but you just ain't see it because you was thinking that folks was holding you down. And that's a mindset that I think we need to have a conversation about. So let's break it down, and let's make sure that we are clear here on defining racism. We are defining it as it is an individual prejudice based on race. It is that. It is that. And discrimination does play a part in racism. It does that. It does that. So far, we one check for is America racist, or is America, you know what I'm saying? It's just America, just America. All right. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is the legal reality. The legal reality. So the legal reality being the first question, are there laws today that explicitly discriminate by race? The answer to that is a resounding no. There is no laws today that explicitly discriminate by race. Now, are there officers that work off of stereotypes? Yes. Is stereotypes a form of discrimination? Yes. But because you using stereotypes, does that mean that you're racist? No. So this is that conversation again where you can say two things can be true at the same time. Because yes, you can stereotype somebody, and stereotyping is a form of discrimination because you have to discriminate between who is who and what is what. And discrimination is a form of racism. So this is a situation where three things is true at the same time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're stereotyping something that you're racist. Now, that could be kind of confusing, but it's not confusing if you actually think about it, right? Because let's say uh I don't like to wear the color blue. So I discriminate towards the color blue. Let's keep it simple. My favorite color is red. I like to wear red. That doesn't mean I don't like if you wear blue, because you might look good in blue, right? Is that the same thing? Is it? Or is it not? Am I missing? Am I missing? Did I smoke too much of the blunt and it just went all over my head? I ain't making sense no more. I'm lost in the sauce because I mean, just because this is this and this is this doesn't make it have to be this, because we know we live in this thing where everything isn't just it's just not. But we are talking objective facts. So let's are there laws today that explicitly discriminate by race? No. Objectively, no. Do all races have the same legal rights on paper today? Answer again would be yes. And then are there laws or policies today that give advantages based on race? And it gives an example, an affirmative action. So I would say that would be like things like DEI, but DEI was supposedly used to help get black women, I believe, into the positions of work, or black men into the positions of work, in which it turned around and made it where white women ended up getting these positions in work. So that would be a form of an affirmative action, but I think that they got taken away. Mm, I don't know. Let's look up and see what other affirmative actions are there. Let's see what kind of affirmative actions do they have out here. What affirmative actions are still in the works? Let's see what it says here. AI is a motherfucker, ain't it? While the U.S. Supreme Court effectively ended race-based affirmative action in higher education admissions in 2023, affirmative action plans for federal contractors remain in effect under Executive Order 11246. Although recent administrative actions have altered their requirements, as of January 21st, 2025, President Donald Trump rescinded Executive Order 11246 and Executive Order 13672, meaning federal contractors like the University of California are no longer required to publish annual affirmative action plans for minorities and women. Lord have mercy. Federal contractors, although the recessions of EO remove the federal mandate for annual plans, contractors must still maintain non-discrimination programs to comply with state laws like California's Fair, Equal, and Housing Act, often by publishing separate non-discrimination plans. State-level variations, while 8 additional states have eliminated race-conscious policies since California's 1998 Proposition 209, some states and institutions continue to pursue diversity through alternative means, such as K through 12 outreach programs and socioeconomic based admissions, as the Supreme Court's ruling does not ban all diversity focused efforts. International developments in Ghana, the parliament passed an affirmative action bill in 24 targeting women in politics, setting targets of 30% by 2026, 35 by 28, and 50 by 30, with the first election under the legislation occurring in December of 2024. So the question was, are there laws or policies today that give advantages based on race? So we clearly just read that, and the answer is yes. That is 2 out of 3 answers for no, and 1 for a yes, which gives us another argument point where we have to figure out legal reality. Are we racist legally? Unfortunately, the answer would be yes. We are. They punish black folks more harsh than they do white people, to keep it plain, blank, and clear. If we need to pull up statistics, I believe we can do that. And I'm going to ask Gemini. You know, I use all of the AI. I use it all. I ain't gonna hold you. I use it all. Can you give me stats for the last 10 years on crime and sentencing based on race? Let's see what Gemini has to say about this, because I ain't trying to look it up on Google and all that other stuff. Let's see. The last decade has seen a gradual decline in overall incarceration rates, but significant racial disparities in both crime victimizations, arrests, and sentences remain. Here's a breakdown of statistics from the last 10 years based on the data of Bureau of Justice Statistics. Arrest and crime statistics, populations versus arrests. Black Americans make up of roughly 13 to 14% of the United States population, but accounted for approximately 37% of the prison population and nearly 27% of all arrests in recent years. Drug offenses. Research constantly shows that black and white Americans use and sell drugs at similar rates. However, black Americans are arrested for drug offenses at nearly 3 to 4 times the rate of white Americans. Homicide victimization in 2020. Black Americans were 9.3 times more likely than white Americans to be homicide victims, highlighting the systemic vulnerability in certain communities. Sentencing disparities. Here we get the juice, baby, the juice. Because all of that stuff, we kind of already knew that, right? Like, we really did already know most of that stuff. We just didn't maybe know the numbers, but we knew it was more, right? However, this is kind of interesting to me when you think about the fact that it says we make up 13 to 14% of the population, but account for 37% of the prison population and nearly 27% of all arrests in the recent years. I need to know what the percentage of all the others that were arrested, because now that leaves about, say, 63% left. 63%. 63%. And we make up everything outside of 86%, which is that alone. So the population in prison and the population in America is about a 20% disparity, right? So I need to know how many percentages the whites. I need to know. I gotta know. Hopefully they tell me. Sentencing refers to the punishment handed down after a conviction. let's get to it. Sentencing length. According to 2023 report covering 2017 to 2021, black males receive sentences 13% longer than white males for similar crimes. Hispanic males receive sentences 11% longer than white males. The in and out decision. The biggest disparity often occurs in whether a person is sent to prison at all. Black and Hispanic defendants are significantly less likely to receive a probation or split sentences compared to white defendants with similar records. Wrongful convictions. Since 2016, data from the National Registry of Exoneration shows that black defendants are 7 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of murder and 19 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of the drug crime than the white defendant. Whoa. And you look at the incarceration trends from 2012 to 2022, this is per 100,000. Roughly 350 white guys will get arrested and go to jail and prison. 1,800 plus black people, black males, I should say, and Hispanic has 800 plus. That is a lifetime likelihood born in 1981, 2001, it changes. 1 in 17, 1 in 3, and 1 in 6. The best odds was in 2001 and up, which is 1 in 17, 1 in 5, and 1 in 6. The decline between 2009 and 2022 declined about 24%. Despite the decline, black Americans are still in prison at 5 times the rate of white Americans as of 2024. So, with all of that information that we just gathered, we can break that down, right? We can break that down, right? Actually, I want to know what is the white population of inmates in America. So white people make up about 45% of local jails, 30% of federal and state. Hispanic, okay. Wait, that math ain't mathing. I guess they didn't put the others in, like others. So 31% of white people, 33% of it is black people, 23% of it is Hispanic. That's interesting. Very interesting. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. So the question again is, are we legally racist in this country or not? And based off of what we just read, I have to ask this question. Does this go back to the stereotype thing where I say, the stereotype is to focus on a certain type of person? And if said group of people that tend to get arrested the most portray this said look, is that being racist or is that being stereotypical and just betting the odds? Like, tonight feels like a good night. I'm about to have me a triple double. I know that buddy right there with the shiesty on probably got some dope on him somewhere. He probably smoke at least. Like, it's like when you walking around. I remember when I was younger and I used to walk around up in uptown Cleveland, and I like young niggas will just pull up on you like, hey, you smoke? Or even if the person sell weed, they already know you smoke, so they'll tell you, hey, I got that tree. So they stereotype it. Are they being racist in that sense? Because you got to stereotype those folks to know who. Because you say that to the wrong person, you going, you know where you know what's going on. They got to be able to tell, hey, that dude like that, he look like he might be the police. I can't say that shit right here. So I want to say that just because we do see this disparity, I think that that's a whole nother conversation because there's a lot of things that play into why I believe so many black people end up in prison in the first place. Now, as far as the links, that goes back to the systemic aspect of it, where I say I do believe that there is some discrimination involved with that, which clearly it shows. I guess to be objective, I guess to be objective, I have to acknowledge and say yes, yes, there is legal racism in America. I think I have to acknowledge that, right? I think we all have to acknowledge that at this point. Now we got the next point. Is it opportunity versus outcome? Do all groups have equal opportunity today? Now, this is where I think a lot of people will probably disagree with me when I say I personally believe that we all have the same equal opportunities. What affects those opportunities is people's places and things. My girl used to always say that people, places, and things. I'm gonna tell you how people, places, and things actually affect your opportunity and your outcomes. In the black community, the majority, I think it's safe to say, the majority of us are raised in single parent homes. That comes with its own set of problems, right? And then you have the ones that are raised in two parent homes, which again, that comes with its own set of problems. It's not peaches and cream on all aspects, right? But it's it seems to have more benefit if you have those two solid figures starting out in life. Now, the reason that's different is because first and foremost, if you have your single parent, maybe she's not or he's not able to put you into positions to be able to actually succeed the way that you need to succeed because maybe it stretches her too thin, or maybe it stretches him too thin, or maybe he doesn't have the resources to do so, or maybe they just don't have the bandwidth to maintain all of that, right? Because all of this stuff actually starts when you're very, very young. Also, you think about the mentality of that single parent. And I'm not even saying this always, but there's a reason why there's a stereotype of what a black baby mother looks like. There's a reason why there's a what we envision when we say a white baby mother. There's a you don't even hear the word Asian baby mother. Like I've never really heard that, but I'm not saying that they're not out there. But it's like few and far between. They be like married, then have a kid, or they in a serious relationship, then have a kid, and then they end up married or something. Like it don't really work out as a. I ain't really. I mean, you hear Latin baby moms, Hispanic baby moms, I guess. But that's besides the point. There's a reason why there's a stereotype for these 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 phenotypes of women, right? There's also the myth and understanding that if you go to court once you break up or have a divorce, more times than none, the woman takes on most of the custody. Not maybe not all of the custody, but she takes more majority of the custody than a man ever takes on ever. If you're in a two parent household, obviously you have two parents that's able to dump resources, dump like it's it's common sense, bro. If you have two people, then two people can meet more than just one person at a time. Two people are meeting one person at a time, so that's two people being met at a time, which equals four people being met at, like, it's mathematics, right? So if your kid, like, you're talking, it's two, as a parent, you talk about your kids, and that's how the parents network and end up in parent circles, and then you find it's an intricate web of things that people really don't pay attention to. It's all of the little nuances, right? And then you take on the mentality of the parent that is raising you, right? So if you're raised by a parent that is scarred by life, is fucked by life, damaged by life, they done seen things, they done been through things, and they have a negative outlook. Well, guess who you learn your first outlook of life from? Your parents. That's why you see sometimes you got bad kids that have these crazy mindsets because why? Well, they parent, they ain't fall too far from the tree. They spend most of their time with either mom or dad or grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the time they're there with them. Unless you one of them ones that had the baby 6 weeks later, 2 months later, you was back at work, kid in daycare. If you one of them, then you know that the baby's whole mentality is just it's in a bunch of different ways. It's a bunch of different things going on. But if your kid is raised in the house for the formative first 4 years, then the kid is a reflection of the parent. Now, again, it goes back to you having that single parent home. The parent can't have their kid at home for 4 years. How you gonna do that? You gotta work. You got bills to pay. You got to provide, right? So again, it goes back to you're not starting that seed off early, and that's where I think that people think that they don't have the same opportunities to get the same outcomes, but in reality, technically you're fucked from the beginning, and it's not because of the government or any white man or any purple man or yellow man or any of that. It's because of your circumstances and the circumstances that your parents presented you and brought you into. If they brought you into a fucked up situation, then you gonna probably end up in a fucked up situation until you figure out how to get out that fucked up situation. Unless you don't open up your mind and start thinking about, unless you don't open your mind. So if you don't open your mind, obviously you'll just stay in that same fucked up situation. But that's here nor there. I do believe that all groups have equal opportunity. If outcomes differ, what explains it? Is it the culture, the environment, the policy, or discrimination? I think if outcomes differ, it's because the lack thereof knowledge. Example of that. Let's say that there's a pay disparity between top earning CEO white men and top earning CEO black men. I think that if we are putting them up for the same job, and let's say the white man gets the job and he takes $250,000, and the black man gets the job and he takes $200,000. I think that he took those $200,000 because he didn't know that he could get the $250,000, and he accepted what he was able to accept. I think that if you're actually the person that you're supposed to be for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you will get compensated for what you're supposed to get compensated for. Unless you don't know any better, and then you just don't know. Just, I mean, think about how artists get, just to bring it home a little bit. Think about how all of these artists in the early 90s and early 2000s kept getting trapped in these 360 deals. They didn't know no better. Well, now in 2026, you see that artists, they damn near got full control of their masters the day they get signed. Well, why? Because they have more knowledge of the game. They have more understanding of how contracts work. They actually went to go get a real lawyer. They didn't go get their homeboy to go read over some paperwork and get fucked over by their homeboy and by the label. They just took a different approach. They had a little bit more knowledge. So I don't believe that because you might end up in a different spot, like, let's say a job opening that you didn't know about because you didn't know the right person. Well, that's an opportunity that you missed out on because you just didn't know the right person, not because you wasn't the right person. You just probably didn't even know about, like, if there was an opening at your job to be assistant manager, and it was just talked about in the back room. It didn't come out on the floor. The paperwork didn't get put up yet or any of that. But old buddy just hired his best friend to just do the be the assistant manager because his best friend, he just might have just got fired from his other job, or he might have quit his other job, or maybe he was at another job and he told him about the opportunity. He told him about it while he was at the bar drinking one night. He was like, you know what, shit, if you pay me, like, I'll come through there and I transfer now. Oh well, that would be, not because they're racist that they didn't put you as the assistant manager because you've been there for 5 years and you've been busting your ass for them. It just wasn't, shit, opportunity wasn't presented to you because you just probably didn't know the right people at the right time, or you didn't know the right information at the right time. So yeah, I can't go with this. The opportunity versus outcome is where I'm like I'm deading the streak. Can multiple causes exist at the same time? So I see culture and I look at culture and I think about culture, right? And I had to think about a conversation I heard when I was listening to a conversation about racism before. And they said, if a black person goes to a job interview wearing cornrows and a white person goes to a job interview wearing cornrows, they'll get two different outcomes. And I will have to say, I think you're wrong about. I think that was the dumbest thing to say. First and foremost, I can't even imagine seeing a white person going to an interview with cornrows like that. That shit don't even sound right. Now, if you know one that did it, let me know, man. Maybe one of the hood white dudes did it or some shit, because that would be the only thing that I could say. Yeah, that probably went with him. He probably did some shit like that, but he's influenced by the culture. So if he's influenced by the culture, he's gonna get treated as such. So I don't think he would even get it. If you don't think he gonna get it, I don't think he'll get it. That's where I'm at with that environment. I just think that if a person comes from the hood, they don't have to act like a hood person. So they can go to another environment. When I was in school, they used to say I talk like a white guy, but I'm not from the white area, right? So that can't be that, like, I can't miss that. So for me, I can't say that the environment plays a role, and I believe that you can thrive in any environment as long as you know how to adapt. You have to be adaptable. You can't go anywhere in life and think that you can just be this rock and nothing is going to just, because you have to be able to adapt and you have to be able to change. Not to say that you have to, let's put it this way. You're not gonna go to your boss and talk to him the same way that you talk to your homeboy that you grew up with. You're not about to talk to your man or your woman the same way that you talk to your homegirl or your homeboy. Y'all have completely different conversations. Now, granted, your girl might be your best friend, but y'all still not gonna have the same conversation as you're gonna have with your best friend. And if you tell me you are, I know you fucking cap, because you will not tell your girl right now that you seen that girl at Walmart with the fat ass that was looking fine as fuck. You would not tell her that you couldn't stop looking at her. You wouldn't tell her that. You would not be. So stop the cap. Now, if you with your homeboy, you be like, damn, dog, you see that ass? You see that ass? Come on, stop the cap. Now, off of that, off of that, off of that. Let's get to the next point. The education system. Are schools unequal because of race or funding location? No, I will not say that schools are unequal because of race, but I will say schools are unequal because of funding location. Now, it's interesting because a funding location is based off a state budget. State budget is issued by the governor. Your city budget is issued by your mayor. Remember earlier I said that the lack of knowledge is, what did I say? The lack of knowledge is the reason why we miss out on opportunities. Check me out. If black people have the conception that voting is stupid and your vote doesn't count, I would say that that would be one of those things where you lack the knowledge and you missed out on the opportunity. Because if you pick the right mayor and the right people for Congress and the right people for your school department, education board, those people might actually be able to allocate more funds towards Department of Education for that said school district or that said town school. But because black people in 2026 say that my ancestors fought and died to have the ability to vote and for their ability to vote to count, they think that voting doesn't matter, which is asinine to me. I think that's the craziest logic, the craziest thing you can ever say. I don't understand how people think that, but we're going to use that concept and we're going to understand that if your school's funding is low, it's because you probably didn't get out and vote. And I'm not the guy to tell people to go out and vote, but I'm telling you, hey, if you didn't vote, you can't really complain about nothing because you didn't do anything to make a change. Hey, call it what you want, but that's just the facts of it. Um, the criminal justice system, are disparities due to bias, behavior, or both? I think there are disparities due to bias. We've already had that conversation. Hiring and businesses. Is discrimination still happening? If so, how often? I do not believe that discrimination is happening. I believe that people choose to stay in their place and work, or they don't choose to try to make the changes necessary to be in the places that they complain and say that they can't get to. Example that I can give a perfect example of that. I'm at work. I hear people all the time talking about how, man, them white folks, they just sit up in the office and they don't do nothing. They want to blow smoke up our ass. They ain't give me nothing but 65 cents on my raise. They ain't da 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 da. They ain't da 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 da. Okay, cool, 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 cool. But you know, when we walk in the building every morning before we get to the spot where we punch that badge and hit the work floor, there's this board, and this board always got job bids up, and you could put a job bid in if they got it up and they say we need a lead. You gotta have these requirements. Your attendance gotta be this, and your points gotta be here. Guess what? Nobody's applying. Now you got to hire somebody from off the street because nobody in the building wanted to step up. See, they could have hired somebody from off the street and make them work their way up, but because you wanted to lack the intelligence to take that opportunity, you want to stay in your position because you feel comfortable there. But then you complain about saying, well, all the white folks always get to be in these positions. But the same opportunity is there for you, but you just don't choose to take it. And that's just the facts. That's cold hard facts. It's nothing but the facts. So help me God, I put my right hand up for that one. Like that's just a fact. People is just complacent as fuck. Like they just like to stay in the same place and then complain about the next man that's holding them back. But you know that's low key. I'm gonna tell you what that is. So I was listening to a podcast and this dude kept talking about white supremacy, and I'm like, man, why he keeps saying somebody a white supremacist? So he started giving examples of what a white supremacist is, right? And so I broke it down. You know me, I like phonics, so I broke it down. I break it down. I'm like, okay, well, what is a supremacist? A supremacist would be somebody that, I mean, obviously they think they're more supreme than others. They think they're better than others. They think that nothing can stop them, nothing can hold them down, nothing can hold them back. All right, cool, cool. So if you're a white supremacist, then that's right there. Okay, so a white person that think they better than everybody, they can do no wrong and yada 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 yada. All right, cool. But see, in my mind, I always like to think both ways. I like to look at both sides of the coin before I come to a good conclusion. And I'm like, well, damn. So we can have a black supremacist too, right? That's what we used to call the Black Panthers, I assume. But that's besides the point because that's not what I'm talking about. I was always under the impression that, a white supremacist was definitely like the KKK, blah, blah, blah. But then when dude kept saying it, it started making sense. And I was like, damn, you know what? Folks really be white supremacists though. Like, and it ain't even the white folks that's white supremacists. It's a black folk that's a white supremacist. So I came to that conclusion because I asked this question. I said, I went up to my dog, and I ain't gonna say his name, but I went up to my dog. I said, hey dog, do you think if black people wanted to, we can get a like 150 acres of land and just build a community? He was like, nah. I was like, why though? Now, see, in my mind, I have an answer for that also. I already have my answer for that. Why I don't think that would happen. I do think it's possible, but it has to be with the right people. But I don't think it will happen yet. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. But he said because the white man will take it away, they'll destroy it. I said, damn. And I said, so you do, and you believe racism exists? Like you really think people, the white man holds you back from shit, right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, damn, that kind of fit in line with being a white supremacist though. Like you might be a white supremacist, bro. He was like, what you mean? Why you say that? I was like, well, we'll think about it. What is a supremacist? I see, he said, we had the agreement. We agreed that a supremacist is somebody that think they better, think they almighty. Like they think they the shit. They think they it. They him. They himothy. Nothing can stop me. And you put the word white in front of him, boom, bam, bam. It makes sense. Okay, boom, right up my alley. White supremacists. I think that they can hold nothing. But you said that you don't think we can come together as a group of people, our 13 and 14%, and create by our own massive ass, big ass piece of land, go live there, create our own government. Because each state get their own government anyway. So if you buy the land, you put it in a trust, all these good things that we all know what to do with, da 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 da. Well, technically we have our own state at that point because shit, it's only 13, 14% of us anyway. But then you gotta think about all the hooligans and all the nonsense that go on when you got a lot of black folk together anyway. So I don't even know if you really want to do that. No shot, no shot, no shot, yeah, hey, look, we ain't gonna get off track. We ain't gonna get off track anyway. So, boom. Do that make sense? Are you a white supremacist because you a black man and think that white man holds you back and can't stop? I mean, can stop you from anything? Can stop you from doing anything? Like you can't do anything because of the white man. Like we can't go out here and just say fuck it, y'all. Let's get 20 or 50 of us, put our bread together. I'm pretty sure we can probably scrap up 50,000. Let's go get us a piece of land, man. Let's go get us a nice piece of land. Let's go build us a house, or let's get us a fucking camper or something. Go get our shit out the mud. You know what I'm saying? We go start gardening our shit. We gonna build us a couple little, you know what I'm saying, juke joints. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get it from the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all think that if you can't come to that conclusion and say let's do that, or you're in fear of another group of men coming and destroying it because they are racistly hate you, and I think you have you might have something you might need to soul search on, right? I mean, if you disagree, again, like I say, drop the chat, drop the comment, let me know something, because I can only think that that's kind of being a white supremacist. You white supremacist against yourself, like you You racist against your own kind. Like you don't even have faith in your own people. But anyway, that's here nor there. That's here nor there. Let's talk about personal experience. Personal experience. Do personal experiences prove a system-wide reality? I think we can all agree that that's a hell to the no. Obviously, your personal experience doesn't conform to the entire reality unless you're one of those people that think that we're all one consciousness or some shit like that. But no, your personal experience is your personal experience. That's your run in with that situation. My personal experience in most situations has been pretty decent. Your personal experience in most outcomes might be fucked up. So you might have a fucked up perspective and think that the whole system is fucked up. Meanwhile, I see it and I think that the whole system is cool. Everything is cool. Ain't nothing wrong. Everything working like it's supposed to. So no, personal experiences do not prove a system-wide reality. Can racism exist without defining the entire system? Can racism exist without defining the entire system? Hmm. Let's come back to that because I don't know if I really understand that. I might have to ask ChatGPT to elaborate. Is it possible things have improved and problems still exist? Yes, I do believe that things have improved and problems still exist because old you have older laws that still haven't been changed, that still are in effect. So yes, that is a possibility that things have improved because there are laws that may be in place that may be not even enacted upon. As like I said, Mississippi really just literally just abolished their last slavery laws in the 21st century. But did they have slaves? Fuck no. So I think it's possible things have improved and problems still exist. But this is where I have to have that conversation where I'm like, in my opinion, if we talk about racism in America, do we talk about is it governmental or is it person on a personal level? Because I think that's even a different conversation. I think that systemically there is racism and discrimination that's involved that plays a role in things. Um, However, on the local level, like saying like is your neighbor a racist person? I don't think necessarily that they're racist. I think maybe it's more so what is the word? To be racist and we're neighbors. Like not saying we don't even have to be neighbors. Let's say you're racist, but you live fucking in my neighborhood type shit. Like you live within the block, like you live across like around the block or so. Like I think that's just dumb, nigga. Like, don't you realize we in the same boat? We in the same fucking boat, nigga. You struggling to pay your bills just like I'm struggling to pay my bills. The fuck is you talking about? How's you racist, nigga? Like your tire blow out on the side of the street. If I came to help you, would you accept my help? If you that racist, would you accept my help? Or would you be so racist to see your tire blew out on the side of the road and I just blow by you and I blow my horn? I'd be like, fuck you, fucking racist bitch, and keep it pushing. And then you're mad about that too. Or I don't even say nothing. I don't even have to say nothing. I just drive by and you see I'm black and you like, oh no, that fucking nigger. I ain't gonna go for that person or anything. Or like, is that that ain't even logical? So I'm like, in my mind, I think that a person that's racist, that's not. I think racism only exists if you're like you gotta be upper echelon shit type shit, and I don't even think those people are racist because I just think that they have a superiority complex in general. I don't even think that they believe that it's a necessarily their race thing. I think, like I said, I think it's a social class thing. I don't believe that because if Those white people have to shake hands and rub elbows with black people to do business with them. If you racist, you don't do business with those people either way. Like that, and I guess that leads me into my next point, where it's like, is it then versus now? And you have to say, like, back in the day, those folks was not doing business with no black person. You not even coming in my restaurant. You not using my toilet. You not drinking from my water. You not eating off my fork. Even if we at an industrial place, you not working in the same places I'm working. You not walking across the same street I'm walking. So when you think about that and you think about now, you like, well, how do you survive and be and maintain your wealth if you're rich and racist? I think that at that stage you have to acknowledge and admit that there's more. It's a more of a stereotype thing, and you have to prove me otherwise that you're different. And it just so happens that in most cases, in most situations, the reason why we decide to call someone racist is because we might have acted outside of the norm. Because I've been in situations, again, like I say, I've been in the South. I went to school. I graduated from South Carolina, so I've been around people that genuinely had a racist mindset, and I could tell it was a racist mindset. But I had no choice but to be around these people because I'm in school type shit. Like we're in school, my nigga, and I remember I remember a conversation where they was just like, you're a cool black guy. And at first I'm like, what the fuck? What you mean? Like, nigga, what the fuck you mean? But I'm a thinker. I think about things more so than just reacting, because I know that reacting leads to other outcomes or whatnot, what have you. So I'm just like, that's what you mean? Like, why you say I'm cool for a black guy? Why I'm not? What you know what I'm saying? Like, so he just went to elaborate on type shit, and it just gives you an understanding that people people have their views about what races do. Like, we have the theory. Even white people even acknowledge this shit, but when it rain, what do we say? Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all gonna make me say it? Don't make me say it, man. Don't make me say it, man. We say it smell like dog, bro. It smell like dog. All right, what we say about the Asian folks with they sideways eyes. I remember when we was younger, they had this joke that say something. I ain't even gonna say it because I'm on YouTube. But anyway, anyways. Yeah. So I believe that it is possible for things to have improved, but still exist. And then versus now, then you had the slavery. Then you had the Jim Crow laws. Now you have equal rights under law, but debates about systemic effects. Now, is today better, worse, or just different? So if you say, is today better than 1960? I would say, hell yeah. I will say anybody that says no is a fucking fool, and they probably just deserve to not exist. They probably want to press the delete backspace button. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean. I ain't gonna say it. We on YouTube. Remember what I said. Yeah, buddy. But if racism exists today, what form does it take? Is it overt? Is it subtle? Or is it structural? I would say it is definitely going to be more subtle, and I don't think it's structural. I think it's more subtle than anything. So if you do encounter some racist or racial slur, it is just going to be that, like, that's why I say there's no action behind it. And realistically, a lot of people don't even understand the what is it like. You don't even know that person. You're basically going off of an experience that you might have had with a person, or you're going off a set of experiences that you might have read about, seen about, heard about, or talked about. If unless you know that person genuinely, you might end up, you never know. It's racist. Y'all seen that video of the it say the world's most racist guy, and it's a black guy that interviews him, and they end up like they basically turn out to be cool as fuck. It's kind of weird how it goes though, but he's legitimately racist as fuck. I think more so it's just like I said, the lack of knowledge, intel on things, and you leaning more on your stereotypes than anything. And what would a truly non-racist society look like? Um, not sure. I mean, I kind of feel like if it's a truly non-racist society, I don't know what that would look like because I don't know what kind of mindset. If it's a perfect world, like if it's my world that I'm saying that everything is cool in, then I'm gonna just say in a truly non-racist society, everybody just living like kumbaya, bro. Like get high and be fly, bro. Like niggas ain't tripping about nothing. You not getting racially profiled on what type of crime you doing because you not even doing crime. You just chilling. You kicking back, relaxing, getting money and getting. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I'm the guy to ask that question too because I was obviously. I would think anybody would say that that's though like a truly racist, non-racist society. Everybody is kumbaya, getting high and staying fly, getting money and stacking it up. You know what I'm saying? Like you're able to do what you need to do without being messed with or you not being bothered. But that also comes in the sense where those all of those people also would be doing the right thing. So it's kind of like super fantasy. It's super fantasy because you always are. We're humans. We're put on this earth to judge, bro. It says it in the Bible. We're gods with a lowercase g. If you're biblical, if you're Islamic, then you know that you also have to have discernment and discretion. If you have discernment, that means you're judging. If you're judging, that means you're using a basis of facts, and you're basing the outcome on those basis of facts. If I'm walking down the street and I see a gang of black guys over there, and I walk down the street and I see a group of white guys over there, if you notice, I said gang of black and a group of white, then you will always automatically know. Well, 9 times out of 10, if it's dark at night, you're most likely not going to walk down this street or this side of the sidewalk where that gang of black guys are. Now, there are some people that'll say, "Yeah, I'm bold and brave." However, at the end of the day, I don't think if you calculating it by survival, that would be your smartest move because anything is liable to happen. Not to say that anything is not liable to happen if you walk down any side of the streets, but I think that's just what society has taught you in today's world. But that's not this and this is not that. So, with that being said, I think we covered all of the questions. I think we covered all the bases. So let's go back and let's make sure we can figure out what our answer is. So I know that number one, we found out what the definition is. We found out what the definition was. All right. Number two, we asked if legally is there any racism, and we agreed to systemic racism legally. Opportunity versus outcome. I disagree that opportunity versus outcome plays any part of your race. I think it's a set of situations and factors. Institutions, that I think was mixed because hiring was a no. Criminal justice, we already acknowledged, which that goes to legal system. And the education system, I said no to also. So I think I'm gonna go with no for the institutions. Personal experience and data. Obviously, your personal experience does not mean that that's what it is. And obviously, then it's completely different than now, which leads me to my final verdict that I believe that is America, the state, the the state of Just the Facts podcast versus is America racist today. I find the defendant not guilty, Your Honor. Do we have problems? Do we have issues that need to be situated and rectified? I do believe that. So I would like to put us on a probationary period, a small probationary period, and give us about 5 more years to get our shit together. And if all falls through, then I think that we can be in a good place, and we can maybe, adjudicate this whole process and adjudicate this situation. And I hope that the judges out there that see this later on in playback see fit for that adjudication and they agree with that. And if you rocked out with me this long and you went through this whole spiel with me and you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that likes button, that thumbs up. It's free. It ain't costing nothing. I don't ask for nothing. I ain't even giving you no ads. I'm letting you watch this and you ain't even gotta have YouTube Premium. You feel me? But anyway, show your boy some love. If you ain't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1K, run it up 1K. We will be doing this for 30 days. I don't know if it's 31 days in the month of April. I gotta check that. But you know what? It's interesting. Y'all might get to go chill with me and son for his birthday because I got to stream now. I have to put some video. I have to put some content up. So on that day, it might just be some other shit going on. It might not just be me here talking about different thoughts and different ideas, and we trying to bust it down and find the facts in it. But I think we found the facts in it right here. I think we was pretty factual about everything that was said. And again, like I said, if you disagree with anything, let me know. If you agree with anything, shit, let me know. It kind of boosts a nigga's ego to find out that he was actually spitting some facts in your ear. You feel me? So, with that being said, it's your boy Jay. It's been real. Appreciate you for hanging with me. We signing out.